As Africa's leading defence news portal, DefenceWeb aims to give you the latest updates on African defence, the South African National Defence Force, and the defence industry. Hi folks, welcome to the past week in defence. On the continent, Morocco orders AH-64 Apache attack helicopters and Sherpa armoured vehicles. The Algerian Navy orders a Chinese corvette. A Ghanaian Z-9EH helicopter makes an emergency landing. The Bangladesh Air Force sends MI-171 helicopters to the Central African Republic, and the Rwandan Air Force is set to receive Caravan aircraft from the United States. In South Africa, the National Conventional Arms Control Committee will investigate South African defence equipment in Libya. Political parties raises the alarm over farm attacks, and an ex-SA Navy minesweeper partially sinks in Durban Harbour. In SANDF news, the Navy will not be taking on extra personnel to man its new multi-mission inshore patrol vessels. The South African Air Force assists in the rescue of an injured soldier in the Drakensberg. Soldiers confiscate 1.4 million rands worth of cigarettes on the South Africa's borders. The Defence Minister is rapped on the knuckles in Parliament over abusive soldiers. President Cyril Ramaphosa extends the SANDF's Operation Notlela deployment, and soldiers from 9th South African Infantry battalion test positive for COVID-19. And in company news, Hensoldt South Africa acquires Tellumat's air traffic management and defence business units. Africa Aerospace and Defence is postponed to 2022. Indonesia looks at Denel's aerospace and defence expertise, and Veecraft delivers the South African Special Forces workboat. In African defence news, Morocco has ordered 24 AH-64E Apache attack helicopters from Boeing in a deal worth $440 million after requesting the aircraft in late 2019. The Department of Defense on the US Department of Defense on the 25th of June said Boeing had been awarded a $439.2 million contract for new built AH-64E aircraft and longbow crew trainers for Morocco. Boeing said deliveries are expected to begin in 2024, with the contract expected to conclude by March 2025. Morocco has apparently ordered 36 Sherpa armoured vehicles from France's Arcus in light scout and light armoured personnel carrier models. This is according to France's DSI magazine, which gave no further details on the acquisition, and there has been no comment available from Arcus, formerly Renault Trucks Defence. The acquisition is the latest in a string of orders for French military equipment and comes on the heels of Morocco's order for air defence systems from MBDA, believed to be VL Mika systems, and 40 Cesar 155mm self-propelled artillery systems from Nexter. In January, Morocco received 3 Harfang unmanned aerial vehicles from France. France and Morocco enjoy close economic and defence ties. Between 2008 and 2018, France sold Morocco some 1.8 billion euros worth of military equipment, including 2 satellites. Algeria's Navy will in 2 years' time take delivery of a 96-metre-long corvette from China's Hudong Songhua Shipbuilding Group, a subsidiary of the China State Shipbuilding Corporation. The project was revealed by United Kingdom-based maritime classification society Lloyd's Register, which on the 24th of June said it had been selected to provide assurance and certification services to Hudong Songhua for 2 significant naval projects with the Algerian and Thai navies. The Algerian Navy's new corvette is designed for patrol, escort, and maritime protection missions within the nation's exclusive economic zone, Lloyd's Register said. The corvette incorporates a helipad and a crew of 78 people and has a range of 3,500 nautical miles and is capable of top speeds in excess of 27 knots. It is scheduled for delivery in 2022. A Harbin Z-9EH helicopter belonging to Ghana's Air Force made an emergency landing on the 25th of June, but none of 8 people on board were injured. The Ghana Armed Forces Public Relations Directorate said that the helicopter, registration GHF 630, performed an emergency landing in a field about 32 kilometers west of Tamale Airport. The crew landed after observing a malfunction on the tail rotor system. The helicopter is one of 4 delivered to the Ghana Air Force in 2015. The Bangladesh Air Force has sent 3 Mi-171 SH helicopters to the United Nations peacekeeping mission in the Central African Republic. Bangladesh's Inter-Services Public Relations Service said the 3 aircraft were transported by a chartered Antonov AN-124 airlifter between Dakar and Bangui on the 20th of June. Bangui. They were preceded by a contingent of 123 Bangladesh Air Force personnel who arrived in the Central African Republic on the 29th of May on a Biman Bangladesh Airlines flight chartered by the United Nations. The MI-171SH helicopters can be armed and are equipped for night operations. The Rwandan Air Force will, in the next 18 months, take delivery of 2 Cessna Caravan aircraft, which will be used for medical evacuation and other tasks. In September 2019, the United Nations issued a draft request for proposals for the acquisition of medical evacuation aircraft for Rwanda, and on the 24th of June this year, the Department of Defense announced that the ATR Engineering Services of Johnstown, Pennsylvania, had been awarded a $10 million contract for Ghana's Grand Caravan X acquisition. Parliament's Joint Standing Committee on Defence, JSDC, has asked questions about military hardware exported to Turkey that might have found its way to strife-torn Libya. Addressing the Oversight Committee by invitation in June, Jackson Mthembu, Minister in the Presidency and Chair of the National Conventional Arms Control Committee, NCACC, is reported as saying the committee had no previous knowledge of military hardware destined for Libya. The JSCD was told the NCACC has requested a report from the ministers responsible for international relations and cooperation, the National Intelligence Coordinating Committee, and the Department of Defense. This is according to a Parliamentary Communication Services statement. These are published images of South African sniper rifles and Mbombe armored personnel carriers in Libya. The Mbombes, designed by Paramount Group, are believed to have reached the troubled North African country via Jordan and are apparently in service with Khalifa Haftar's Libyan National Army. Continued criminal activity in South Africa's agricultural areas has seen leading farmer organizations and 2 political parties again calling for action and intervention of some type by the government. 27 brutal and senseless attacks in June deeply affected the national agricultural community. Tommy Esterhuis, who chairs Agri-SA's Centre of Excellence Rural Safety, said. He was joined by Freedom Front Plus leader Peter Groenewald, who called the attacks an extreme wave, which should see the country's farmers ready themselves to fight fire with fire within the constraints of the law. Statistics released by the Pretoria headquartered Transvaal Agriculture Union showed 59 farm attacks and 12 murders in South Africa since the 1st of April. A former SA Navy wooden-held minesweeper partially sank in Durban Harbour at the end of June. 60-year-old SAS Durban was handed to the Port Museum 32 years ago in May 1988 after decommissioning 3 years earlier. The former ton-class platform was a popular floating exhibit at the busy East Coast port. Transnet National Ports Authority, which manages all facilities at the Port of Durban, confirmed the partial sinking of the SAS Durban, which carried the pennant number M1499 while in service. She's understood to have taken on water overnight and sunk partially in shallow water with nobody aboard. eThekwini Metro engaged the services of a diving company to investigate the cause and to try right the vessel. There are no concerns about pollution as the vessel was dry and clean without any oil aboard, the National Ports Authority said. And in SANDF news, the SA Navy will not sign on extra personnel to crew its inshore patrol vessels, RPVs, the first of which is planned to go into service by mid-next year. Earlier this year, Arms Corps indicated work on the contract for the 3 inshore patrol vessels being executed by Damon Shipyards Cape Town was on schedule. Construction of the first platform is on track and the first steel for platform number 2 has been cut, with delivery of platform 3 set for 2023 to finish the contract. The new additions to the SA Navy fleets have not yet been classed or christened and will be known by their pennant numbers for the foreseeable future. These are P1571, 1572, 1573, following the tradition of P for patrol vessels. 15 Squadron, the only SA Air Force helicopter unit in KwaZulu-Natal, literally came to the rescue of an injured soldier at the end of June. The KwaZulu-Natal Section Rescue Team of the Mountain Club of SA was called out to help the South African National Defence Force with a soldier who had sustained serious injuries in a fall in Leslie's Pass in the Injasuti area of the Drakensberg. At first light on Monday 29th of June, an Oryx helicopter from 15 Squadron Durban was dispatched, which then picked up 3 Mountain Club members at Pietermaritzburg. A rescue then took place high in Leslie's Pass before bringing the patient to a hospital in Pietermaritzburg. Two separate cigarette interceptions by soldiers in June again show the ease in which smugglers breach thinly protected borders and just how high the demand is for black market cigarettes in level 3 lockdown South Africa. Cigarettes, conservatively valued at 1.4 million rand, were taken from smugglers in the vicinity of the Beitbridge port of entry between South Africa and Zimbabwe, with the second confiscation in the Nduba area of KwaZulu-Natal. These borders both Eswatini and Mozambique, and is currently home to a company from 4th Artillery Regiment from Potchefstroom in the northwest. A SA National Defence Force statement on the 1st of July has that the soldiers on night patrol confiscated illegal cigarettes from smugglers suspected of being undocumented persons from Zimbabwe. The contraband, valued at 526,487 rand, was handed to SA Revenue Service at Beitbridge. Defence and Military Veterans Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa-Ngakula was taken to task in the National Council of Provinces (NCOP) for claiming soldiers' sexual abuse was not brutality. She was responding to a question asked by Democratic Alliance NCOP member Isaac Seleku. He sits on the Select Committee of Security and Justice, and his question to the minister was part of an oral session with Cabinet Security Cluster, which includes the defence portfolio. A Democratic Alliance statement issued on behalf of Seleku hazarded that the minister does not regard sexual abuse perpetrated by SA National Defence Force soldiers as brutality. This was in response to Seleku, who wanted Mapisa-Ngakula to elaborate on whether reported cases of brutality during lockdown were isolated. He also sought more information on both reporting and investigating of brutality incidents on peacekeeping missions. In her response, Mapisa-Ngakula said the Department of Defence hardly ever receives reports of brutality, only a few cases of sexual exploitation and abuse outside South Africa, which she would not categorize as brutality. The employment of soldiers and other military personnel as part of the national effort to combat coronavirus has been extended until the end of September, with a reduction in numbers of more than 50,000. The announcement, in the form of a letter from SA National Defence Force Commander-in-Chief President Cyril Ramaphosa, dated 30th of June, was circulated as part of Parliament's announcements, tablings and committee reports bulletin on the 2nd of July. The letter said 20,000 SANDF members are being employed for service in cooperation with the SA Police Service to maintain law and order, support other state departments, and control South Africa's border lines to combat the spread of COVID-19 in all 9 provinces. The extension of Operation Notlela will, according to Cyril Ramaphosa, cost the South African taxpayer 1.5 billion rand. The SA National Defence Force has confirmed around 40 soldiers have tested positive for COVID-19. On the 30th of June, it was reported that Limpopo Health MEC Dr. Forthi Ramathuba said 38 soldiers in Lefalale tested positive for coronavirus. A subsequent SANDF Directorate Corporate Communications statement confirmed the positive tests. The statement identified the soldiers as belonging to an infantry battalion from Cape Town, the only Western Cape capital-based unit in the SA Army Infantry formation is 9th SA Infantry Battalion at Agster. And in company news, Hensoldt South Africa has acquired Tellumat's Air Traffic Management and Defence and Security business units as it continues its local expansion. The agreement was signed by Rainier van der Walt, Managing Director of Hensoldt South Africa, and Andrew Connaught, CEO of Tellumat, on the 26th of June. The transaction, which has been in the works for the past year, will be effective as soon as regulatory approvals have been obtained. With this transaction, we are combining the activities of 2 leading defence electronics providers and strengthening our position as a leading defence, security and electronics brand in South Africa, Van der Walt said. The complementary product portfolios of Hensoldt South Africa and Tellumat creates a complete sensor solution offering that is in line with that of the Hensoldt Group. Van der Walt added that we will create new products and services that will build upon the significant expertise that is being acquired. This year's edition of the South Africa Aerospace and Defence AAD show has been deferred to 2022 due to the coronavirus pandemic, the exhibition organisers have announced. The exhibition, long seen as Africa's premier aerospace and defence event, was set down for 16th to the 20th of September at Air Force Base Waterkloof in Centurion. The traditional weekend air show has set to include large parts of the SA Air Force Infantry as part of the commemoration of the force's centenary. AAD organisers said on the 30th of June the exhibition has been deferred to 21st to 25th of September 2022 as a result of the current COVID-19 pandemic. The decision was made after consultations with the Department of Defence and key stakeholders. Indonesia recognises Denel's abilities and capabilities, with the high-level delegation from the country looking at South African defence and technology conglomerates with regard to supporting its defence industry mastery roadmap. An Indonesian delegation visited Denel's facilities in March. It was led by Ambassador Salman Al-Farisi and included the defence attaché. They visited various Denel facilities, including Denel Aeronautics, where the delegation was briefed on the Roy Falk attack helicopter. In addition to the rotary wing facility, an Indonesian delegation was given an insight into Denel's air defence and unmanned aerial vehicle capabilities. Veecraft Marine has delivered a 20-metre workboat named Nkanyamba to the South African National Defence Force, whose special forces will use it for personnel and equipment transport and training. The delivery was announced by Australia-headquartered marine engineering design company Incat Crothwa on the 30th of June. It received the design contract from Veecraft in late 2018. Nkanyamba, named after a legendary Zulu sea serpent, is the 12th Incat Crothwa vessel built by Veecraft in less than a decade. Veecraft has previously supplied vessels to the SA Special Forces. In May 2017, it launched two 11-metre-long workboats to support the activities on the Lagabaan Lagoon. Veecraft, part of the Paramount Group, has previously supplied vessels to the South African Navy, such as Project Xena riverine patrol boats to the Marine Reaction Squadron. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our daily and weekly newsletter, and our other social media platforms if you enjoyed the webcast. Leave your comments below. Thank you for watching, stay safe during the lockdown, and we'll see you next week.